with the unplugging. Yes. So we are in this last book of Torah tonight in Devarim, moving towards the end of our Torah journey for the year. And then, amazing, after the high holidays, we will begin again. And then next year, big secret, we're going to go through the whole thing, and then we're going to begin again. And then the year after that, we're going to go the whole thing, and then we're going to begin again. Many, 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 many times. Favorite book. We're just going to keep opening, diving inside, seeing what it has to say to us right now, right here. So here we are tonight, this week, in Devarim, the last book of Torah, where Moses has lots to say. Devarim, words, lots of words. These words are Moses' words to the people. Lots of instruction just before entering the land, because he is not going to be continuing on in this journey. He is going to die. So part of these instructions, there are a lot of instructions. Just thinking about, okay, there's this and then there's that. It's a lot of instructions. And one piece of instruction in this book, and in this particular parsha, there's lots of talk about judges. It's called Shoftim, this parsha, and the establishment of cities of refuge, boundaries of the land, examination of witnesses to establish that their testimony is truthful and accurate, and that they're acceptable witnesses. So I want to go into the place that's about these cities of refuge. The cities of refuge are a place that you can go if you have mistakenly killed somebody. And the example they use is maybe you were chopping wood with an axe and accidentally the axe flew out of your hands and it landed right on somebody and it killed them. And you did this not on purpose, but they died. And you have fear, rightly so, that somebody might avenge the death and come after you. So the people are to establish cities of refuge where people can run to when they've made this horrible mistake. So they go to this place, and it tells us that they're going to prepare, you're going to prepare the way. And Rashi says, well, what does that mean, we're going to prepare the way? And they said that they'll be inscribed at different crossroads, pointing the way. Miklat, miklat, refuge, refuge. This way to refuge. That's where you can go to be safe and to take refuge. Follow the signs to the city where you will be safe. I've been thinking about walking through a land and seeing a sign that says, you can come take refuge here. And how different that is from the narrative that is happening around, no, don't come here. Don't come here. Refuge, refuge, come, take refuge here. I thought it was moving that you talked about, Ruby, about Alexandria House, and you used the word refuge. That this is a place that you can come take refuge. So there's cities that can be places of refuge, communities, please God, that can be places of refuge. And also, I've been thinking about the idea of how do we make ourselves into places of refuge for each other. I would like to make myself a safe haven, a place of refuge for you. And how can we offer that to each other? We read this parsha always at the same time, always close, because it's the last book, always close to the high holidays. So there's these additional meanings that weave through the Torah portions that are so close to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And on Yom Kippur, and all through this month of Elul, and I know somebody was like, wow, you guys at Nefesh are really into Elul. I've had that reflected to me. We are. Everybody getting the emails? We're really into it. Okay? And I was like, why is that? What is our particular jam around Elul? And it made a lot of sense to me when I sat with it. Elul is the Hebrew calendar month that comes before Rosh Hashanah. And it's a time of preparation, to prepare ourselves, to do a cheshbon nefesh, an accounting of our souls. and to take responsibility for any harm we might have done to others in the past year or beyond if we weren't able to see that and take responsibility, and then to do tshuva, to do repair. And the reason I think that we really, really go for it and really do all kinds of offerings and practices throughout this month is because we are a community that values practice and taking action. We love study, and we love practice. We're a community where we're looking to walk our talk our walk, put it in our lives, in our legs, in our arms, in our bodies. That was a little side note on Elul. So every year, we read this particular parsha right in this time. And I was thinking about that process of how when we want to do tshuva, when we want to take responsibility for how we've harmed, it might not always come out great the first time. And so I was thinking about the steps of tshuva and how we can, as a refuge for each other, help each other in this process. So you may recall or remember, or hearing it for the first time, that the process of tshuva acknowledges what we've done. If we're still doing it, we would stop. That's like a big deal, right? If you want to do tshuva and you're still making harm, stop. In case you didn't know that part. Stop the harm. Okay? You're going to stop the harm, and then you're going to say out loud, honestly, what you've done. There is a tremendous emphasis on saying the words. Can't just think it. You got to say the words out loud in front of the person. And if it doesn't go well, or they're like, okay, that's good, but come back again, you can come back 3 times to try and make repair. Then it's on them. They need to accept it. So you're coming back 3 times, and then the final step is you're taking actions of repair, right? You're trying to make things better, right? To try and repair the harm. You can't take it away, but there may be actions you can take to repair. I'd like to add an additional step to the steps of tshuva, which are inspired by this place of making a refuge. And that is, before the part where you go to somebody and take responsibility, you find a person who's a person of refuge for you, and you practice saying the words out loud. So that all the defensiveness, all the like, I'm sorry, but, so not helpful, I'm sorry, and you also, no, all of that, you always, I'm sorry, but you always. Get that out. So we can get to a place of making meaningful achrayut, responsibility, and meaningful tshuva. So let's throw that in to this place of what are the steps that we're going to do. So I ask you tonight, where is that place of refuge for you? Who is that person of refuge or community or place of refuge? In whose heart can you reside in a place of safety and support and belonging? And if you don't know where or inside of whom, how can you start to create that? How can you ask? My rabbi suggested that I find a place of refuge. Would you be willing to explore how to do that for each other, to make safe and loving, or safer, nothing's ever safe, space inside of ourselves for each other? What would that look like? And maybe you had that with someone, and it's no longer feeling that way anymore. Is that something you could share with them? I used to feel a place of refuge in you. I don't feel that anymore. Do you feel that in me? Am I a place of refuge for you, a safe haven? How can I work on making that true? I think about making this sacred place, this place of refuge, and this idea of a makom, a sacred place. It's one of the things that we call God, ha-makom, a space. I was thinking about how there's a sacred day where there are these poles and a cloth, and they make a chuppah. And couples go under the chuppah, and they make this incredible sacred space under that chuppah, filled with their love. And they create that space, that refuge inside of each other, witnessed by others. But it is sticks and a cloth. It is not poles and concrete. It is an acknowledgement that it's open on all sides to the winds, to the rain, to the storms, to incredible heat. And yet there is a place of refuge. I'm not saying that the place of refuge is going to protect us from all things, but it is saying, in this place, open on all sides, this tent, this sukkah, I make a place of refuge for you inside of me. In Psalm 27, look at that, another practice for Elul. There's a tradition of saying this psalm every day for this month, Psalm 27. One of the sections of it says, one thing that I ask of you, God, is that I seek to dwell in the house of God all the days of my life. Kol yamei hayai, right? Shaviti bebeit Adonai kol yamei hayai. Because God gave me this shelter and conceals me in the recesses of their tent. Here is a psalm that speaks of such beautiful trust, and yet the metaphors are a sukkah and a tent. There's this acknowledgement that inside the insecurity and change of all that's around us, we are going to make dwelling places for each other. We're going to be honest, they're not going to be fortresses. We don't want fortresses. We want to be making out of sukkahs and tents places of refuge and belonging inside of us. There is a place of protection and shelter. I was also really moved by hearing the funerals that happened this week. There has been so much death in Israel, Palestine, and to hear just individual stories, because we don't get to hear that. We don't get to hear that, the stories of Israelis, the stories of Gazans killed. So to sit for a place and get to hear about a life at a time is so moving. And Rachel Goldberg-Pollen said, in this moment, calling out for refuge, she said, I want to say such a heartfelt thank you to the countless people in our extended community who have held us, cared for us, prayed for us, cooked for us, carried us. I'm so thankful, and I apologize deeply, but we will need continued help to get through this sickening new chapter 2. I'm sorry to ask because we've given nothing and you've already given so profoundly and completely, but I beg of you all, please don't leave us now. That was a direct call for refuge. Please keep holding us now. We still need you. She also asked her son Hirsch to do that for them, to be a refuge for them. I love you and I will miss you every single day for the rest of my life, but you are right here. I know you are right here. I just have to teach myself how to feel you in a new way. The possibility that the dead can be a place of refuge for us. The dead, our ancestors, our chosen ancestors, those that we long for, they can be a place of refuge for us. We had a loss in my family last week, and family is the best word when it's hard to find the words. She was my mother's former partner and stayed in our lives, and us and hers all these many, many years. She was Nana Donna to our kids, all of us, but especially my mother was her refuge. As Alzheimer's moved into her 10 years ago, my mother tended to her every need. It was a long decline, and the last years were brutal. I bow with incredible honor to the care you took of her, to the place of refuge you created in your heart for her. And I bow to all of you who are caring for those who need your care, who are a place of refuge. We can take refuge in our beloveds and them and us when we are living and when they have died. We can take a refuge in them and they can take refuge in us. We say at a funeral the El Malay Rachamim prayer, and this translation I have of it that I love so much, it's a poetic translation, says there's a weary flutter of wings and a disquietude we cannot escape. Doves hover and rest their wings-shaped shelter for each other against darkness, rain, and unbearable light. So we too gather to give your soul a canopy of memory. We are your safe haven, the place where nothing you hoped and won is lost or forgotten. The place where nothing you hoped and won is lost or forgotten. Rest here with us, sweet presence. May you be a refuge. May you find refuge. May you be a refuge. May you find refuge, a safe haven, a soft landing, the forest floor. Shabbat Shalom.
you.